Hey guys, it's Jay. This is my first video, and I just wanted to talk a little bit about meaning and why some guys are having trouble finding it. Um, so let me start off. I've been single for a while. Um, I I've only been in one serious relationship, and that was in high school back in 2000. Well, around the turn of the century. So I dated one girl, and we were pretty serious, and we dated for about 4 or 5 years. She was my high school uh, crush, I guess you could say, and we were together for about 4 or 5 years, and you know, what happened was we had decided to focus on careers. I had gone to technical school and she had gone to college. And what ended up happening was I took a job out of state and she had continued her education. So we had gone our separate ways. And at the time, I didn't think it was a big deal. Um, but in hindsight, I kind of regret it, um, because I've struggled to find a meaningful relationship since then, and I'm 31 now, and so I wanted to kind of talk about what is happening in society presently and why it's getting harder to find meaningful relationships now, and some of the reasons why it might be. So, guys nowadays, at least the guys I talk to, they're struggling to find purpose, and they're struggling to find meaning in life. And these are the guys usually around my age. A lot of them are younger than me. I'm 31. A lot of them are about 5 years younger than me, so probably about 24, 25, 26, around that age group. So, and a lot of people, and I don't know about girls, but a lot of guys are struggling with this. We're struggling to find meaning, struggling to find purpose. And so, I'm going to go ahead and start off by saying let's rewind and go back to the beginning, the first recorded history. Guys were the hunters and gatherers, and the women were the nest eggers, or whatever the word is. They were the ones who stayed home and raised the family. Women played a huge part in raising the family. And the men went out and they hunted, and they killed, and they brought home food, and the women stayed home and raised the children. And so it's very core. It's a very animalistic nature in men to want to provide and to have meaning and purpose in life. And, society, I think, is changing. And I think we're, like, at the cusp of where it's going to change, and to where women are becoming providers now. And everybody is working, and they're struggling to find meaning. And the family unit has changed a lot, especially within the past decade. And there's several factors as to why that is. I mean, there's so many different things. Technology plays a huge part. The fact that how we communicate has changed a lot within the past decade, and it's getting difficult now. And culture and society is changing. Like we're at the beginning of something new here. Now, whether it's good or whether it's bad, not really too sure. We're gonna find out about that, but it's having a devastating effect on mental health, relationships with people, and you know, it's becoming difficult, especially for just regular guys like myself. You know, I, I've struggled with this. Like, you know, um, I was working 60 hours a week, and I was providing for myself and living by myself, and I was bringing home a decent paycheck, but I was spending all my time working, and I felt just like I just didn't have meaning in life. Like it was just something I just couldn't find. And I still struggle with this, to find meaningful relationships. Like I've had a few quick relationships, I guess you could call it, since then. Since Amanda, who I dated in high school and in college, we had dated for about 4 or 5 years, and we decided to go our separate ways. And at the time, I just thought, I'll probably find somebody else. I'll find a partner, and everything will work out. That's what I thought at the time. I guess it was kind of naive, but that's what I thought. And I've struggled to find that. So I started wondering why that was, and I started noticing that other guys are in the same boat. I'm not the only one. And it's a fine line. It's a balance. You have to find balance. And a lot of people are struggling with this. I'm struggling with it myself. I'm single. I've had a few quick relationships, and just nothing meaningful. It was just really just it's really hard to find a meaningful relationship nowadays. I don't know if it's technology or if it's something else, but I've struggled with this. People that I know have struggled with this. I've even struggled just to have friendships with other guys. Um, so, you know, why is that? Why is it becoming harder to find? Well, again, I think it's due to the rise of the internet, the rise of dating sites, um, Tinder and POF, um, are tools to use to find somebody. I don't know if they really work. I don't know. I don't know very many people who have found anybody on Tinder or have found meaningful relationships on Tinder. I guess they do exist. Um, that's a big part of it. Another big part of it is the family unit has changed. Again, women are in the workforce now. Guys are in the workforce now. Everybody is trying to make a living now. It's harder to make a living now with just one breadwinner. I think, and the thing is you need somebody, especially nowadays more than ever. You need a meaningful relationship in your life. You need somebody you can depend on, and vice versa. The women too. They need somebody to depend on. It is not. We are not meant to be alone in this thing. We're meant to have partners, and I think we're losing that part of life. We're losing what it is to be in love, to have meaning, to have a meaningful relationship, to build things like trust, and love and stuff like that. We're losing that, and I just think it's it's not good. I mean, it's devastating, really, if you think about it. And especially nowadays, you need somebody. Like I said, financially, you can't make it on your own anymore. It's just too hard. You need to depend on somebody, and it's very hard to just afford a place by yourself. You need somebody you can depend on, and you're gonna want that person to be close to you. You're not gonna want um, a a roommate that's just there because you have money and that's it and that's the relationship. You're not gonna want that. You're gonna want either a friend or a partner, and you know. So I think that's another problem, and that's a major cause of what is happening in society and why mental health is worse now than it's ever been, why depression, suicide rates are up. I think it's because people are having trouble finding balance. And, um, you know, the whole chaos and structure, you gotta find you gotta find the balance between chaos and structure. Structure is where you get up and go to work every day, and it's the same old thing, day in and day out. And chaos is, well, the unknown. Chaos is, you go out and slay the dragon. You know, you need to find the balance between that. Too much of one is not good. Too much of one is you're gonna have problems. If you have too much structure, you're gonna have problems. If you have too much chaos, you're gonna have problems. You got to find your balance. So, I think that's what I'm struggling with personally. I think that's what a lot of other people are struggling with, and they're having trouble finding purpose. They're having trouble finding balance, and I think one main reason is because the family structures is disappearing. People are not getting married anymore. People are not having kids and doing the traditional things that for centuries, thousands of years, people are not doing what they used to do. And I just think it's having a devastating effect on mental health, on the way men are struggling to find purpose. And like I said, I hear all this talk all the time about purpose and meaning through your job. You're supposed to find a career that's suited to you, and you're supposed to have meaning through your career, but nobody talks about where they get their meaning from. And a lot of people get their meaning from their relationships. A lot of people get their meaning from their kids, and having a reason to actually get up and go to work every day. So I think without that, yeah, you're going to have trouble finding meaning. I mean, if you don't have relationships. And like I said, it's there's several factors for this. I'm not 100% sure why. I just think the internet, information technology plays a major part. I think the what do you call it? Instant gratification is another thing. Like instant gratification. We're all in this weird, bizarre realm of having everything instantly delivered to us. So if we go on the internet and we buy Amazon products, or you can get it instantly. You buy a product and the next day it's at your door. You order food and a half hour later it's at your door. You want to watch a movie, you stay home and you stream a movie. It's right there. Everything's really instant now, and so I think that's part of the reason why people are having trouble finding meaning. It's like, well, I can't find anybody that I actually trust, or I can't find anybody that I actually depend on, because these things take a long time to build. It takes a long time to build trust. It takes a long time to build relationships. And in today's society, the way culture is going, it's getting harder. It's almost too hard, right? It's almost like, well, why is it so hard? It shouldn't be so hard to find somebody like that. And it's just like I said, it's bad for guys, because guys we're like, we're the ones who have the egos, who want the egos, who want meaning, we want purpose. Guys build things, because the women are inherently creators. They come to Earth and they just create. That's who they are. They have babies, But if a man wants to create something, he has to actually go out and do something. And I think that's very inherent in our nature to do that, And I think if you deny that, then you're going to have some kind of mental issue. You're going to have trouble if you deny what your own body is telling you. So that's what I'm struggling with currently. The dating scene is terrible. Like Tinder and POF and stuff like that is just absolute garbage. I mean, one problem with Tinder one problem with Tinder is, to use Tinder as an example, is, the woman has a lot of choice on Tinder, and so if she doesn't like a certain guy, she can go to another guy, and then after 2 weeks, if she doesn't like that guy, she can go to another guy. So it's just like it's a pattern of behavior,